What do you think, with the benefit of hindsight, that could have been done to set the stage in the manner in which you think could have served the pro-democracy fighters right?
I think it would have made sense if all of us came under one umbrella at that time. Uh, and, there was a political party, there was the NCP at that time. We could easily have forced the military to register it. It was actually in existence since 1994. Chief Ganifa Oyemi created that political platform. And for all the pro-democracy groups, students, labor, to come under that umbrella and use it to fight for and get power. And if we presented Chief Ganifa Oyemi in 1999, I have no doubt that he would have beaten Obasanjo. I don't have any doubt about that. But by the time he came 4 years later, it was too late. Who was presented from the Southwest? Obasanjo and Shivolu Falai. Same, it is just different faces on the same coin, on different side of the coin. Olufalaye was an IMF World Bank lackey who was a Babangida boy, as they called themselves in those days. Obasanjo was a former military dictator who was a Babangida benefactor. So at the end of the day, Nigeria went back to Mina to choose the two candidates for the election in 1999, sadly.
25 years later, you think that you and a few people can rewrite history by being part of the process, by leading the process. Is that right?
No, what we decided in 2017, 2018, a bunch of us younger pro-democracy activists, was to create a platform to start advancing what we believe will liberate Nigeria. We saw Nigeria as a neo-colonized state. And we decided that we will go and liberate Nigeria. That was what drove us to set up a movement known as Take It Back movement, and eventually got a political party registered. If you have some confusion about this, you can look at what the ANC did. I don't want to be calling ANC too frequently these days, considering what they have become in South Africa. Now, I think the ANC set up their own political party as their own political arm of winning back power for blacks as far back as 1918 or 1928. And then eventually kept that platform running and advancing their own manifesto for a Black-dominated South African society, a just, fair, and egalitarian society in South Africa for Blacks. So it's the same way we looked at it, but that did not preclude us from waging the liberation struggles that is needed. That is why we did Revolution Now, for example, because our struggle wasn't going to be limited to, partisan elections, and only we had a country to liberate. So, but what the political arm of our struggle does is to tell people, we are pro-democracy people and we believe in democracy. But the best democracy that Nigeria needs is a democracy that is devoid of manipulation, of the forces of corruption. A diluted democracy wasn't going to serve Nigeria serve Nigeria in any form of nature, in a way that liberates and empowers and brings prosperity, security, and justice to the people. So that is what we started in 2018. And it was because we deeply looked at it and said to ourselves, we're going to keep complaining every year. When the Nigerian people need protesters, they'll call on us. When they need leaders, they'll call on the people who are oppressing them, or they'll go with the people who are oppressing them, people who impoverish them, the people who have turned them into beggars, and the people who made Nigeria the poverty capital of the world, and the people who introduced to the lexicon of human lifestyle what is called multidimensional poverty. That is, that we needed to provide an alternative and speak to it and give it a face, a form, and character. And that's what we started in 2017, 2018. You cannot say that, you are in a democratic era when your democracy do not meet the tenets of democracy, when your democracy is devoid of rule of law, is devoid of free and fair elections, is devoid of freedom of association, freedom of speech, is devoid of economic prosperity. You can't claim that that is democratic era. So you can call it whatever you want, but you can't call it democracy. And if it is not democracy, you can't say it is democratic. So what we want to bring about is a democratic era. But what is the best democracy you can have in the world, in any country? It is for the people to decide that they want to change their situation and go for it. So why people vote in elections is because they believe that free and fair elections can take them in a direction that they can control those who represent them and those who are in power. And that translates to them being in power too. But when the people are alienated from the process of selecting their leaders through this rigged process against them, you can't call that democracy. And if you say to them that we can change that trajectory and you go for it, that is what is democratic.
But why would you ask for a revolution? The term revolution, you don't think is extra?
No, it's not. The revolution is the thinking that drives a process, and be very clear about it. A process that is inclined towards rapidly changing your situation. So if you are poor and you don't have any business being poor, a revolution brings you what you're entitled to, prosperity. If you are unhealthy because your hospitals were destroyed by your leaders, a revolution helps you restore your hospitals. It helps you restore your roads. It helps you restore the fundamentals.
But Mr. Sowore, where has this method...
It's not the only place. Yeah, it's not the only place where people embark on revolution or revolutionary action, even when they have what is the so-called democratic leaders in power. There was democracy, so-called. The people in Egypt were democratically elected, but they kept manipulating the process. The people in Tunisia were democratically elected before the people decided that they've had enough of the manipulation. What is important, Sheung, is for you to understand that what we started with is that this is not democracy. And if it is not, then you can't keep labeling it democracy. It would be unjust, unfair, and dishonest to say that, running elections in which the electoral body completely manipulates the process, disconnects the wires, unplug, a process of transparency, it's democracy. It is not. There's nothing to sugarcoat about it.
You've tried twice without success. What do you say to those, some of those who had made comments about your political ideology or political trajectory, who say maybe you should begin your aspiration by climbing through the ladder, maybe House of Reps, the Senate, or becoming a governor before gunning for the president? What do you say to them?
You see, the people who make those kind of arguments are the same people who presented a candidate without experience in Lagos to be governor of Lagos. What do you say to them? Tell me.
So you continue to run for president? That's what you say?
I just ask you, because the decision to run for president was a decision driven by the need to save our country, Nigeria, to liberate the country from the claws of these characters you are talking about. They're the ones framing this conversation you're having here. You understand? And with due respect, I have nothing against the young person I just referred to who ran for governor of Lagos without any political experience. If, I have looked at his CV, he fits the bill.
A problem working with anyone from the PDP, or you don't just like the
you think that the DNA of the new alliance or the mega party will change because Peter Obi has new followers? Was he able to change it when he was in PDP? Did he change it when he was in APGA? Why are you lying to yourselves? So that's the point I'm making, that you keep throwing up all these theories about how certain alliances will change Nigeria without fundamentally scrutinizing the characters behind it, and this is where we have fundamental disagreements with.
What is your major problem? Because there are those who will say, show me anyone who is absolutely 100% innocent within the political space. Are you looking for saints to work with, or what exactly is your plan when the issue of mergers and alliance come up?
This is part of the subtle blackmail people throw at us. Oh, show me a saint. Nobody is talking about sainthood here. If we're talking about sainthood, we all would have gone to the Vatican, all right, to go and consecrate one and just bring over to Nigeria. No, we are talking about history. We are talking about contemporary, and old history. We are talking about characteristics and forms and nature of people. We are talking about even the DNA of the political class in Nigeria, and saying to you that we don't want to be part of it. We're not looking for sense. We're just looking at, EFCC records. We are looking at their records as governors, their records as vice president. We are looking at their records in their own community, in the society in general. We are looking at their international records, and all of them come to a burden that has put Nigeria where it is today. So when we tell you that we reject that, we are not looking for sense. We're just telling you practically that based on what you and I know as journalists, that these guys have no intention to change Nigeria, and that we cannot be part of another deception referred to as any mega anything. The only mega thing that has ever happened with these alliances is fraud. You create a mega party, they come around, you steal.
What exactly does Sowore want to do when he becomes president? Should he become president? What do you have different? What ideas do you have that is so extraordinary, that you so believe in so much, that makes you want to be Nigeria's president?
There is none of the candidates, and with due respect to all the candidates, that has publicly stated, like I have done, extraordinary measures that will address Nigeria's problem from sector to sector. And at a point that divided Nigeria problem into two, that part of it is institutional and the other part is foundational. And in the foundational part is constitutional as well, that one of the things is to fix the Nigerian constitution by the people themselves. And this constitution will be a new process of, making a new constitution, and we are going to get rid of the 1999 constitution completely. We are going to junk it. And the institutional aspect is what we described by talking about how to secure the country. We discuss security, we discuss power. I was the first to discuss in Nigeria's history how to bring about a mix of power outlets. I'm talking about energy now, that will resolve our power problem, because I know I don't need to be told that the power problem is not only institutional, it's also foundational. I'm talking about energy, that until you solve the energy problem of Nigeria, there's nothing else can function appropriately. Even security is dependent on energy, right? The prosperity, the economic prosperity we are looking for is dependent on our ability to provide energy at all levels. Our educational system will be powered by energy. The health system will be powered by energy. So our agricultural system will be powered by energy. There's no question about, so that is the base upon which all this will stand, and that it will be technologically driven. So I was the one who was talking about Spicer heat in those days, but I know you guys didn't pay attention to me. You paid more attention to the guys who didn't come for interviews than those of us who were coming to your studios every day to talk about how to fix Nigeria. The attention, and I counted in those days, Shell, when in 2019, I got only 4 interviews at Channel before you and I know we fought with with the owner of Channels. In 2023, maybe 7 max. But every day you turn on your TV, there's APC here, PDP here, and the candidates of these political parties never came to your studio. I didn't see you interview Atiku in the studio. Maybe if you did, you went to his house. I didn't see you interview Tinubu more than once. If you did, you probably went to his house because you're more interested in listening to people who weren't talking about how to fix Nigeria. The minimum wage cannot serve the purpose for which it was designed if it's not considered a living wage. And it is very, very simple arithmetics. That anybody who goes to work every day, 5 days a week, deserve at least at the end of the month, his salary should be able to pay for his transportation or her transportation, should be able to pay for food, should be able to pay for some medicine, should be able to pay for rent, housing, and should be able to take care of the person or their immediate families. The question we've asked over time is, could 30,000 naira, in 2019 it was 18,000 naira, do this for an average Nigerian, even if the person doesn't have a family? The answer is no. But he said something which was true. He said the hourly wage of a Nigerian when it's paid at the end of the month is 175 naira per hour. How can somebody work for 175 naira per hour? Because when you work for 175 naira per hour, what do you get when you work for 8 hours, right? If you work for a whole day, what can 175 naira buy you? If you multiply 175 by 8, nothing. When a police ASP retires, his gratuity is 1.6 million naira, which is $1,000 at the end of 35 years of working. But a governor who served for 4 years is able to say to you by some kind of a crooked law that you build him a house in Abuja, you build in his place of governance where he was there for maximum 8 years, and you provide him cooks, you buy SUVs, 4 of them for him. Whenever that breaks down, you have to buy another one. You provide cooks, drivers, you have to give him 6 policemen, DSS. So where's the justice here, sir? And when we say to you that we can address that imbalance by paying people a living wage, in 2018, 2019, we proposed 100,000. Everybody said it will cause inflation. And then here is 2023. They are now still proposing 62,000 naira. What is an average Nigerian going to do with 62,000 naira minimum wage? That is, in a country where the inflation rate is 33%.
If you have your way, yeah.
And then those who claim that, if you pay them 100,000 in 2019, it will cause inflation. Ask them this simple question. Why is it that 30,000 is causing 33% inflation? That means that the inflation in Nigeria is not driven by wage. It's driven by economic mismanagement.